It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Force. I am David Cottingham with my partner in crime here, Casey Cooley.
Howdy, everybody.
And this is episode 10.
Whoa.
Master of the Order. Who are we talking about?
Master of the Order. I feel like it sounds like Yoda.
It does sound like Yoda. Well, we'll explain that it's not Yoda.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did that one.
Yeah.
I believe that was episode 3.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Maybe.
The Grand Master.
The Grand Master, yes.
Because there is a Grand Master, then there's Master of the Order.
Yes.
Which is something I did not know.
We learn things on the show.
That's right. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
We're not just building this for you all.
Yeah.
We want to learn some stuff too. So we're definitely learning some stuff. And there have been several Masters of the Order, and we're talking about the Jedi Order. But the one we're going to focus on is none other than Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Played by probably one of the most famous actors ever to live, Samuel L. Jackson.
Probably.
Anyway, and I was going to get into that too, actually, about him, how he became Mace Windu. But anyway, we're going to talk about the character, Mace Windu of the Star Wars universe. And we, like I said, before we dive in, we are inside the Force. We are exploring the galaxy far, far away. Everything Star Wars, with profiles and news and interviews and opinions on everything that's coming out with Star Wars TV shows, the movies coming out. Thankfully, all that stuff's coming now, because for a while there, we weren't getting anything. Mm-mm. But we're getting tons of Star Wars now, and we're going to keep this thing going. So, anyway, Mace Windu. We're going to dive right in and focus on Mace Windu here for a little bit. Mace Windu technically is considered the strongest of the Jedi, right behind Master Yoda, for a long time. He was born 72 BBY, 72 years before the Battle of the Yavin, on a planet, Harun Kal, which is located in the Mid-Rim. Every time we really kind of highlight a profile of a planet, we kind of give its location. Right. This being in the Mid-Rim of the galaxy, it talks about the Dustig sector. He's obviously a human, and everybody knows apparently when he died.
Yeah.
Now, there is a lot of speculation
that he isn't dead,
or whether or not he died or not.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to see in the later movies if he comes back. Exactly. But right now he is listed as died.
Yeah. 19
BBY on Coruscant. So being from Harun Kal, it's interesting to know that on that planet, basically everybody is Force sensitive, is what it says. Very strong knowledge of the Force there, and because his parents had died when he was very, very young, he was handpicked and sent, because I think there wasn't a human from there in the Order for a long time, so the Order actually came and wanted to regain that connection between their planet and the Jedi Order. So at this time when they came to look for a Force sensitive child, he was only 6 months old. His parents, both of his parents, have died. So they, as in the clan of from the planet, gave him, and he didn't even have a name.
Yeah,
the Jedi Order actually named him Mace Windu. And in fact, a side note on the name, and I'm just purely going on this by what I remember, but I think in the first draft of Star Wars, I want to say the Windu was the last name, not Skywalker.
I know he had like a list of a bunch of names, didn't he? And that was on the list. I think
so. I think it was. I don't know if it was Luke Windu or I think it might have been Mace Windu, but I'm not even.
Well, I know
100% sure. But I remember him being the name has always been around. Yeah. Since the first drafts of episode 4.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just read here like on Wikipedia that it's been bounced around several different things.
Right.
So he's always wanted to use it, I guess, somewhere.
So it landed on the second greatest Jedi Master, basically. So anyway, he gets obviously he gets trained by Yoda. He trains as a Padawan under Master Tarisei. But then it says the extent of his training is actually unknown.
Yeah.
But by the early age, they're saying around 14, the Jedi Council starts getting worried because by this time Mace has not created his lightsaber yet. And thankfully, by an episode, a story arc in the Clone Wars, we kind of learn about what's called the Gathering and how young Jedis, young Padawans, not even, actually, I don't know if they're Padawans yet. They might be just younglings.
Yeah. How
they find their crystal and make their lightsaber. And that is a step towards being a Padawan and being a Jedi. And it is actually strange being at age 14 and not being able to build your lightsaber yet.
And like I was reading too that he saw what his lightsaber would look like vision of the Force,
which wasn't the look of everybody else's lightsaber.
He just couldn't be able to build it.
So he requested to the council that he wanted to be he wanted a challenge so that he could find his pieces for his lightsaber, and the council considered it and eventually sent him to the world of Hurricane. And then while he's on this mission there, and this is where it kind of gets a little hairy because you're going to have to explain this ability, but because Mace has an unusual ability called Shatterpoint, which Casey will get into. But he's on this homeworld, Hurricane, and he basically the natives were resisting him there apparently, and he eventually uses this ability on them, which has a lot to do with weaknesses, and basically I don't know if he injures, or it's kind of unclear if he kills somebody or if he injures, but eventually he corrects it using the Force, and the natives then basically rewarded him for, I guess, whatever the good deed was. They rewarded him with a violet-colored crystal, which he was then able to construct his lightsaber with. So that's where he gets the purple blade, basically, because, obviously, if you look at every other Jedi, it's either green crystal or blue crystal. But he is the unique one that has a purple crystal, but he does alternate between a blue and a purple. He actually has a blue lightsaber as well.
Yeah, and there's. I remember because we talked about the toys and all this episode, and I mentioned the episode 1 toy had a blue saber. That was because they didn't know about the purple.
I know,
and I read that they made that canon because he didn't have like a purple lightsaber, or like he had or even when he did have the purple lightsaber in the universe, he had made a blue lightsaber and he like interchanged it with the purple, which I think is just a funny way to.
Now I want to say I thought I heard that Sam Jackson is the one that requested.
Yes,
I want a purple lightsaber.
I heard that too because that's the favorite color.
Correct, and I think mistake me if I'm wrong, but I think in the no, that wouldn't have. Yeah, I guess no, that wouldn't have been right. I think it was the Clone Wars. I thought there was something. Maybe it wasn't Clone Wars, the first Clone Wars series, but I thought there was something that, not just a toy, but I think there was something illustrated of him that had a blue lightsaber as well.
It might have been like stuff like
that,
yeah.
And it wasn't until Mace was like, when he fights in episode 2, he's like, I want a purple lightsaber. So that's how they wrote that in the canon, I guess, and he got the purple lightsaber. And apparently he's the only one. I think he's the only colored lightsaber, which is weird because there is in that first series of Clone Wars, there is a time when they go to the temple. They go to a temple where there's crystals, and there are blue and green and purple crystals in there. So
there's a lot of irregularities with that.
And there's different temples, so I don't know which one, if that was the right different one.
I have to watch the Battle of Geonosis again. There's probably only blue and green, but I feel like I've seen somewhere in the 3 prequels, someone had an orange, like a yellow.
Yeah, and in the games,
the games,
they have different colored ones. I think Plo Koon had an orange.
Yeah,
in the game, and then you could have somebody else had a yellow. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen those, but I don't know if those exist for real or not. No one's ever
real life. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, a little off tangent there, but anyway, he gets his lightsaber finally, and from there, he just he trains and trains and trains, and actually, as Casey will explain here, he actually creates a fighting style. So, what makes him unique?
Yeah. Well, going on this fighting style first, the fighting style that he developed and mastered called Vapad, and that's how we're pronouncing it at least, Vapad. And it's the 7th form. There's generally been considered 7 recognized forms of lightsaber fighting in the canon. And this is the 7th form. It's Vapad. It's also called Juyo, and the Way of the Vornsker, and the Ferocity form. I don't know. But anyways, to summarize this fighting style, it deals a lot with like harsh emotions, because when with Jedi, they don't want to feel like no hatred, of course, no feelings that will lead to the dark side, and especially when they're fighting, they're not allowed to find enjoyment in the fight because it's all about harming the other opponent, and so a Jedi can't enjoy that and can't seek and can't feel proud of himself for winning a fight or something like that, because all this will lead to the dark side. But this Vapad fighting style kind of skirts, along the edge of that line where Mace Windu allows those emotions and those feelings to kind of enter him, and he is able to master it and channel it so his fighting style can be more fierce and more powerful. And so what he does is he allows essentially the dark side to come inside of him just a little bit,
right,
but he filters it out of him, like it goes in and out when you're out when you're out the other. So he is not able to be affected by the dark side that is basically tempting him. So instead he uses the dark side to channel through this fighting style. And it's because he's able to do this kind of filtration thing. That's why he is able to master this fighting style. Other Jedi have tried to master it, and either they just aren't able to master it, or they do become very exceptional in it, but they succumb to the dark side because they're not able to deflect that type of energy. So you can master it and either become dark side or become, still stay with the light side. And Mace Windu is the only Jedi to have done this and still stay with the light side.
Right. So some have fallen because they've messed with that. That is. But not even Yoda knows this.
No. And it's because of this fighting style. It says that Mace Windu is counted as like the best swordsman of the Order of all the Jedi. It's because of this fighting style. And he says, but it's said that he's able without this fighting style, he wouldn't be able to beat like Dooku or Yoda, or even some may say Sidious, but that's debatable
right.
We may talk about later. But so that is basically Form 7 fighting style called Vapad that he developed and mastered. And other little cool, when we get into the abilities, also just kind of other things.
Sure.
Other very unique things about Mace Windu, which we talked about, is his force ability called Shatterpoint. And this was first introduced in the book called Shatterpoint, which is the first Clone Wars novel, written by Matthew Stover, I guess, after 2002, I guess, after Clone Wars came out. Attack of the Clones, I mean. But in that book, it's about Windu going to some mission, I think on his homeworld or somewhere, but a personal mission for him, and it talks about this thing. So Shatterpoint is a very rare force power to kind of master in, and Windu had a very unique, good aptitude for this force power. And it's about, as you said, seeing weaknesses in things. what you do, so Windu is basically able to look at any sort of situation, whether it's a person or an object, and see, or just life in general, and see its weak points. So like you said, he went up against the natives of this planet.
Right.
And it says like he shattered him. That would basically take it to mean either it's one person or the whole tribe. But he saw a weakness in this whatever foe he was going up against, saw the weakness and exploited it, which allowed him to defeat him. You know, whether it's literally like a bad knee that he's able to like, you know, punch or whatever,
right.
or it's just like an emotional weakness. Because it says here that in the start of the war, of the Civil War, you know, the Separatists, when it's a republic, Windu saw the weakness of the war was in Count Dooku. So if you took out Count Dooku, the war would end. But, you know, he wasn't able to take him out, so so that was like the weakness of kind of life. So he's able to use this, you know, and kind of change destinies, change the tide of a battle or whatever. And he's able. So like he even says, while he was fighting Darth Sidious, he saw that in Revenge of the Sith that he saw Sidious's weakness was Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin Skywalker had like a bunch of weaknesses. He says, so it's really crazy. It's a really awesome ability, and it says here, I can't remember actually, but it was touched upon in the Clone Wars show. There was an episode where Windu, I think, looked at this, I think a glass, like windshield of some machine. I can't remember what it was, some like whatever view window, and he was able to look at it and find its weak point, and like basically just with the Force just shattered it, just because it, you know, he found its weak spot and destroyed it. So that's Shatterpoint, and he has other very strong Force abilities in Force Wave and Force Crush, which Force Crush is actually considered a dark side power,
right?
And he used that on Grievous, as we talk about. He crushed his organs a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's able to use that and not actually be affected by that dark side. And if you guys out there have watched the original 2D version of the Clone Wars show, there's one awesome episode where Windu is on Dantooine,
yes,
and he says there's a legion of battle droids, and he destroys them without a lightsaber, all with the use of his bare hands and the Force. He's able to just use the Force and just blow droids apart. He's actually able to use his own hands and rip into the droids, like punch through them and rip them apart, because he has an abnormal physical strength because of the Force, unlike, you know, many Jedi. So he has a lot of just unique abilities, which is just incredible. Like so he can kind of see the future. He can see weaknesses. The Force has given him a lot of fortitude and just a lot of stuff, a lot of abilities. So yeah, he's the he's the Master of the Order for a reason.
Master of the Order, right?
He's the bomb.
And Master of the Order, what we have come to realize is that Yoda, when he was given the title Grand Master, that title means the actual leader of the whole order. Mm-hmm. So he is basically in charge. I guess, I mean, we kind of referred to it almost as like the king or the president or something like that. He is the ultimate leader of the Jedi Order, but there is an elected position called Master of the Order.
Yeah.
And that is what Mace Windu eventually got. He got elected Master of the Order, which basically made him the number 2 person under Grandmaster Yoda. So that's why he is. So he's not the Grandmaster. He is just Master of the Order. Now, this title he held for years, for a long time, until the Battle of Geonosis. When the Clone Wars started, he actually gave up that title, and because he wanted to be more involved in the war, and that title then reverted back to Yoda, who was basically both then the Grandmaster and the Master of the Order. So it can be the same person, but it is an elected position. So that's where the difference is: Master of the Order as opposed to the Grand Master. So that's that. So that kind of, I mean, other than that, everything is in the movies.
Yeah.
Everything is in the Clone Wars television show, which I am kind of, I have to look back again, but I am a little disappointed that there wasn't a lot of him in the Clone Wars.
Right.
you know, I feel like we're gonna get a movie.
Yeah,
On Mace Windu.
I mean, if anything, I would like a younger Mace Windu.
Yeah.
You know, Sam Jackson's getting older. But,
he is, but he still looks the same.
Yeah,
I mean, he can just get in shape. You know.
Yeah.
But no,
he's really he was a behind the scenes guy because he was Master of the Order, so he was on the Order the whole time,
right?
Giving out.
But orders. I do think there is a like, I think a paparazzi interview or like a. Did you ever see that? They're following Sam Jackson when the whole announcement was coming out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's going to be spinoffs. And he's like, you know, you never saw me die.
Yeah.
You never saw me die. So I guess they could come out with a movie where he's walking around with one arm, you know?
If he's that powerful, that strong, you know?
I totally think. I mean, if technically he gets thrown out a window.
Yeah, he can like push himself.
Yeah, he can land. You know, he doesn't have to die on a landing. You know, when I mean, unless he got killed before he got pushed out. But he's like moving around. I don't know. Yeah, I maybe they did that for a reason. I don't know. You know, but that kind of brings us to that fight because I do want to touch on that.
Yeah,
because it looks when you're watching the movie. And we're talking about episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where Mace Windu was battling Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious, who obviously is Palpatine, you know, wipes out the other 3 Jedis, fights Mace, up until Anakin shows up. Now, see, this brings up a big debate, I think, because just watching the movie. Once Anakin shows up and everything kind of unfolds, you start to think, okay, well, Sidious, that was his plan all along.
Yeah.
So the question is did he actually withhold and let Mace get that far, or did Mace actually fight a strong Palpatine and defeat him in a sense? So what, because of this fighting style, I mean, like, what is your opinion on that?
Well, when I first saw the movie, I honestly thought he did beat him. I thought at the end he was playing it up a bit, like saying, like, "Oh, I'm so weak," you know. But because there was a moment at the end in episode 3 in the fight when Palpatine was telling Windu, like, "Please don't." He's about to strike him right before he gets his hand chopped off, and Palpatine's like, "Oh, please don't." Like, I mean, he's a great manipulator, but I felt such a sincerity in that "please don't" begging. But like, that's probably just all part of it. But because it said, like, I'm looking up on Wikipedia here and just about the whole thing because I'm trying to figure out. I wonder if Lucas even says anything on the commentary. I don't know, but
I don't know. I haven't. In fact, I don't think I've listened to commentary on episode 3.
It's been a long time since I listened to it. But like, it just says because of the fighting style, he's so good and he uses the Force a lot and through this fighting style. And like, I'll just want to read like an excerpt from Wikipedia here. It says, you know, they fought on the windowsill, kind of the ledge of the window there. And it says here, by bringing the duel to the ledge of the windowsill, Windu prompted Sidious to channel more energy into a Force-powered grip on the ledge, and less into the Force-powered speed that he was using against Windu. So he became slower as he was fighting Mace Windu because he was so focused on his own stance. This is after the window was broken. So it's because of him being slower, Windu was able to get the upper hand, this essentially says, and, you know, kick him in the face, which allowed him to drop his lightsaber. And then the next paragraph, it just says, Windu had the upper hand, but the fight was not over, and that's when Anakin comes in. And it just says, I mean...
Now, what article is that under?
This is Mace Windu's article.
Oh, it is.
It's under just the before he dies part. I just... Yeah, and it says, you know, he deflected the lightning to... And it's because there was like such dark side in the way he was using the Force, Mace Windu was.
Right.
Like, he was even deflecting the lightning. Like, there was dark side in that, so like it was hitting Palpatine, which was hurting him. I don't know, but there's some evidence here. I feel like that says Mace Windu really did beat him, and I like to think that he really did beat him, just because I like to think he's that awesome.
Yeah, the part of me that here's the thing. I'm to the point where I think that Palpatine was fighting to kill, like he was trying to kill Mace Windu. I think if he would have killed him before Anakin would have shown up, I think, obviously I don't think he knew Anakin was going to show up, but I do feel like while they were fighting on the ledge, I do feel like part of me feels like that he sensed Anakin coming. And he was like, this is my opportunity to get a new apprentice because, he's on the edge. He knew he was on the edge.
I have to watch again and see at what point in the fight did Anakin come into the building.
Well, as soon as
after the kick in the face?
No, Anakin's in the building already. So they're fighting. Yeah. Anakin's ship lands. He runs into the building. Yeah. He's running in the building. And that's when, as he's walking in the chamber, that's when he finally gets knocked out. I mean, literally, he gets kicked as Anakin's walking in the door, basically. I mean, it is like that close. So, he's got a sense. He knows he's there. Yeah. It's just whether or not.
I wonder if he knew, but I wonder if Windu really did have the upper hand and Palpatine knew that and he used that maybe.
That's possible.
Maybe, like I think at the
he may have defeated him. Mace may have defeated him.
Yeah.
But I do think that he sensed Anakin coming and he went to Plan B. I can't beat this guy, so I'm going to use Anakin to beat this guy. Yeah. But then part of it is also you got to think about it. Part of it is too, and nothing to do with the characters, but Sam Jackson has been quoted numerous times saying, when Lucas, when George was writing Episode 3, he told him, "Look, I'm the second baddest dude. Yeah, I got to have a very good death. It should not take. I should not die easy. Yeah. So this was his, George's way of filling that request is saying, but okay, well, one guy can't beat you. It takes two guys. So that's where I think it eventually played in like that, where Mace was strong enough to defeat Palpatine, and maybe he knew that towards the end of that fight, and he brought Anakin in for two reasons: to help defeat him, but then also that would push him over the edge and turn him to the dark side.
Yeah, it says that his Windu's attention was so focused on Palpatine that he didn't even think about Anakin doing what he did. I
think Palpatine would have waited till the last second because I don't think he would have taken that strike. I think he would eventually somehow, stopped Mace at some point. But
yeah, I definitely think though Palpatine just laying on the lightning there and electrocuting himself.
Right,
he was doing that on purpose.
Absolutely,
like he could have stopped at any moment. With the lightning. So at that point, he was just doing that, just foresighting, just so he can appear weak, and helpless and all that. But I just feel like Windu did. He got the better of him, but then Palpatine turned it to his own advantage. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Okay, yeah, that's probably it. That's probably right. But I think, I definitely think he was strong enough to defeat him. I mean, if it was 1-on-1 and in some like arena or something like that, I definitely think he would take him down.
Yeah.
I would have loved. I remember mentioning this to somebody, I can't remember, but I would have loved to see. I think it would have been better if Anakin would have stopped the lightsaber with his, and then they fought. You know what I mean? I would have loved to see that.
That was actually that's in the video game version.
And then Mace fights them both. I mean, it's just that would have been cool. More of a stronger death, I think, if he would have got. But then, like I said, by doing this, you're actually leaving the door possibly open that he survived.
Yeah, in the video game Revenge of the Sith, you can fight Mace Windu with Anakin. That's what it adds a little battle. At that moment, you fight Mace Windu before Emperor kills him.
Yeah. See, I think that would have been cool if he would just kind of stop the saber and then fought. Fought. I think that would have been cool. That would have been really cool. So that's the Master of the Order of Mace Windu. Like I said, we got as much canon in there as possible. The rest is in the movies and maybe more to come in the Clone Wars, things like that. So Not really much news
No.
this week.
It's been a slow week.
I guess the biggest announcement was last week with the new television series coming next fall, Star Wars Rebels, taking place between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that timeline. Now, apparently, they're definitely revealing some footage or something at Celebration Europe. In July.
Well, I can reveal a tweet from the executive producer Greg Weisman.
Yes,
Which I believe he is the executive producer.
he is one of them.
Yeah, one of them. He's this very experienced executive producer. He did Gargoyles, for crying out loud. Guys of my generation. Do you ever watch Gargoyles?
No, I know you're talking about though.
But he tweeted that he just got back from Lucasfilm. This was like a couple days ago. And they have completed the story of the first season of Rebels.
Right.
So they have like, I forgot, he had a huge number for like all the index cards that they have for like the plot points. Like, I guess they plot out using index cards.
Yes.
Say like 360 or something crazy number like that. So basically, the first season of Rebels has already been plotted out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you said like how Clone Wars works, pretty much.
Yeah, they're always a year ahead.
Yeah, so maybe they're going to, now they got season 1, maybe they're going to shoot it while writing season 2.
Yes. Yeah, I really think that, like, I don't know. I have a feeling that they have a lot more done than anticipated, than we're revealed to know. Because I don't think they're, like Clone Wars, like we said, while, leading up to the premiere of like I remember, I can't remember what season it was. I think it was the end of season 3 going into 4. Like at the end of season 3, they showed a trailer for it was a season 4, and pretty much all of season 4 was almost done. Yeah. So they were, like I said, a year ahead. So I think there's going to be a lot revealed at Celebration Europe, and I think they've already got a lot of it done. I mean, I don't know if, the big question is whether or not the animation is going to look like Clone Wars or if it's a completely different animation.
I think it's going to look different. From what I read before, they're going, I think I touched on this briefly in last week's episode, because there was a book that...
Ralph McQuarrie book.
All the storybooks he did, they're basing off of that style of animation. Right. So I think it's going to look...
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be 3D.
The color palette, I think it will be 3D.
Yeah, I think it'd be 3D animation.
I think the color palette and all that's going to be really different.
Yeah.
To it. But, I mean, I hope they... if they release some footage at Celebration, and maybe Celebration this year, they might even do Clone Wars stuff. They may even show like an episode.
They probably will.
Season 6,
right?
Or the whatever.
I think at the very least we'll get a trailer for Rebels.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, like I think like they showed at Clone Wars. The Clone Wars stuff at Celebration, like the big trailers and stuff like that. I think if anything, we'll get something like that.
That's cool because I'm sure. Do you think they have a cast already, like characters?
Oh yeah. I think they've already. I think some of these guys from Clone Wars. Yeah, a lot of them are.
If they use Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're going to use James Earl Taylor.
Yes. I think people like Whitwer will probably be back in there.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Ashley Eckstein possibly again. So I think a lot of them.
They might have Ahsoka in the show. That'd be cool.
I guess it's possible. Really cool. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I mean, that's literally the biggest thing. Just a brief little update of the show. I mean, there was an interview released by Huffington Post about Lucas's original plans for the prequels. It's not really news, but it's just a cool little tidbit trivia that if you want to look it up, it's on Huffington Post. It's about Lucas's original intention with the prequels back in '81. So, and the 30th anniversary.
Yes,
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, because we wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was May 25th is when that was.
And we're doing this on what day?
We're recording it. We recorded it the Sunday.
Yeah,
the past Sunday. So,
25th was Friday.
Yeah, it would have had to have been
this past Friday.
Yeah.
That was the anniversary.
This year?
Yeah.
25th was a Saturday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this past Saturday.
Yeah.
Was the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts and feelings of Jedi?
Jedi, it used to be my favorite.
Really?
Before Episode 5 took its place. But, it used to be my favorite.
So what made it fall back?
I think I just grew to love 5 more because just more things stood out to me in Episode 5. Not that episode 6 lost its interest. I think episode 5 just grew.
Yeah.
But episode 6, there are some things, some weaker parts of it. I feel like maybe we just story-wise, but one of the things that I hold episode 6 so much higher over all the films is the fight between Vader and Luke at the end. To me, is the most emotional fight, even more so than episode 3 with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
It's because there's one moment that I just love in that fight where Vader is talking to Luke, says, if you won't turn to the dark side, maybe your sister will, perhaps she will, your sister or whatever. And like Luke just yells, Darth or Father
no,
or Vader?
Says, no.
No, he says no. Like he just no and just
yes, and goes crazy.
Baseball batting with his lightsaber. Like it gets me very emotional during watching that. And so that's one of that's my favorite part of the whole movie, really. But episode 6, it's just, and also just whenever I think about the movie, I just think about colors. I think about colors along with Star Wars. Like that's very green to me for some reason.
It is
like black and green.
Yeah,
and 5 is very blue and gray, and like 1 is very
a lot has to do with the
lightsaber.
White.
The lightsaber.
But
it's very dark to me, episode 6, but it is so lighthearted in the same way with the Ewoks. Basically, it's just a good ending to the saga, and not absolute ending because we're getting in trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
But back in that time, to me, it was a good ending, and it's just a good, very mature movie to end that trilogy on. Yeah,
it is one of my favorites. It's actually right up there with episode 5 in my book too. I think, I think that I loved, because I remember before the prequels ever came out, I enjoyed so much watching. For one, I think that the whole going back and seeing Yoda, like that is a freaking emotional scene. Mm-hmm. But then, when he's talking to Leia and, kind of tells her, who they are, before the prequels came out, all you had was your imagination of what happened, like with the kids, with, them getting split up. And I was always intrigued by her line, and I remember talking to Chad about this a while ago, but, her line, like,
about her mother.
Yeah. Visions, image, really. Mm-hmm. She died when I was very young. And I love the fact when he says, "Tell me." And she says, she was very beautiful, kind, but sad. Mm-hmm. Which it does go back to kind of what you just said previously about that conversation with Lucas about the prequels, because in that conversation he had talked about that Padme actually doesn't die until the twins are somewhere between 6 months to a year old, which would make sense about her visions but that doesn't explain why Luke wouldn't know.
Yeah, so are they now explaining that really that's probably she was just talking about either Bale's wife or literally just forced visions from when she was a baby?
I think it's I don't think they've said definitely. But I think it's one of two things. One, yes, it's either force ability when she's a baby, or what I think is more practical is that Bail Organa showed her her pictures.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's referring to dying. Technically she's misinformed by saying not when she was very young, basically at birth. Yeah. She should have said at birth. It wasn't. Of course, you're very young at birth, but but I do think that that's what the intent was that she didn't die at birth. Is that she did die maybe 6 months to a year afterwards, but obviously once the prequels were written, things had to line up time wise. But I love that scene with them. I think it was a very well done scene. I love that scenery, with the moonlight and the darkness and it's a very good movie, and I like and the main thing too about it is the technology of the effects got so much better.
Absolutely.
From episode 4 to episode 5, obviously in episode 6, I thought the Death Star battle that was phenomenal. That was that's what it should look like, and to not really be any CG there, you know, besides the backgrounds. Really, that was pretty phenomenal looking
I
stuff.
remember looking at the VHS tapes in the back of them because I always showed the battle.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so much better.
So much better.
But it's really cool because there's a like a documentary kind of tribute film, short. I think it's even like a short film. I don't know. So that's fan made.
Yeah.
And it's about Return of the Jedi, and they interview a lot of celebrities. And there's a short clip from it on the internet. They interview everybody. Seth Green, Matt Steinrich, Matt Steinrich, and
Steinrich, yeah.
and like Sam Witwer, Topher Grace, Kevin Smith, all these guys, Chris Hardwick, and they talk about like why they love it and everything like that. And it's funny because most of them say they love the Ewoks, which always is such a funny topic because
right.
You know, like I liked the Ewoks when I was a kid, and it's like a Jar Jar Binks thing. You know, you like it, and you hate them. But and they're just talking about the different scenes that they loved, and like the Rancor scene, they loved the Rancor scene. You know?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And just
the whole Jabba thing was pretty cool because it's weird if you go back and watch it. I mean, the whole Jabba thing, like that's like the first hour of the movie.
Yeah, that's usually how those things are set. Like the first act is literally like you have either Tatooine or you have Hoth or you have Bespin. I mean, Tatooine again. Actually,
Tatooine, yeah, Jabba's thing, yeah. So. Yeah, that was a big part of the movie because and at the time, you know, that was the first time you saw Jabba the Hutt.
Mm-hmm.
Now you kind of know who he is, and he shows up in episode 4 now.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was and that's the one thing. Like when you think about, if you ever do, I mean, some don't, but if you ever think about, had Lucas made those movies now, you know, like. He didn't make them then, and he waited till technology. How much different? For one, the entire trilogy would be different. I think we would see different worlds possibly, but I think they were so restricted by technology that I think the Boba Fett fight suffered.
Yeah,
like I don't think he truly showed. I mean, everybody loves Boba Fett.
Yeah,
and everybody knows how. You know, wicked of a bounty hunter this guy is. But to accidentally get hit with his jetpack and he flies into the Sarlacc pit. I mean, I'm sorry, but that was a poor way to get rid of that guy. So, and I think you can just clearly tell that he wasn't able to utilize him like almost like Django. You know, like
always flying and shooting.
He should have been flying around that thing, shooting at Luke. You know, that could have been like an epic battle. I think
absolutely.
But he just. And he takes off like Superman. Yeah. For one, he gets on there, he's like with his arms up, you know. Whereas Django, you know, they never do that. You know, he just takes off. But and then he lands. He would have never landed. I just think he would have like hovered around, and just started shooting at him. You know,
flamethrowers, rockets, everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been just like Django. Yeah. You know, you notice when Obi-Wan started fighting Django, he was shooting at him while he's walking away and then took off, right? I mean, because he knew he couldn't fight him and land and fight right, to a Jedi. I mean, you just know that. And Boba would have known that based on growing up now that we know, how he saw his dad die and all this stuff. So I was always a little bothered by that. That was the only thing I was like, because I remember when I first saw it, like, oh my God, here he comes. What?
Yeah. That's why they need to bring him back.
They do need to bring him back.
Make him, just pull him out of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, I mean, he does in the expanded universe. He's back, But I think we're going to get a lot of Boba Fett during. Yeah, it was before episode 4. I think we're going to get a lot of Boba Fett. If
Disney's smart, they're going to.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to get a solo film of him, or he's going to be in a movie, a spinoff movie. But yeah, definitely up there. On my favorites of the Star Wars movies, and directed by Richard Marquand, I think. Marquand, yeah. Yeah, great movie. Before we do get into our trivia here, wanted to mention that I finally got Casey into the card game a little bit.
Yeah.
We actually played a game last night. Your very first time looking at it, you used obviously one of my decks. You were on the light side. I was on the dark side. Now I don't think we've ever really mentioned the card game on this.
No,
really,
we haven't.
So for people that don't know, there is a card game out there now. some of you might say, well, yeah, there's been one. Well, this is a new one. There was a, excuse me. There was it was called Star Wars Customizable Card Game back in the 90s when card games were really getting big.
I remember those cards.
The Gathering, Magic the Gathering was coming out and big, and you even said you played the Pokemon cards that were really big with Pokemon kids.
Yeah.
So the customizable card game, Star Wars card game, was big then, but for some reason, I looked it up before, but I don't remember now. But they just stopped kind of releasing updates for it or whatever, and eventually died out and ended in 2001. Nothing since then. There's not been a card game since then. Living Card Game, which is LCG, a division of Fantasy Flight Games, which makes a lot of card games now, a lot of what they call miniature games with the models and stuff. They created a brand new game called Star Wars: The Card Game. And it's they call a living card game, which means that they are constantly updating this thing, adding new packs. What they call force packs to the Magic people would be like a booster pack. And so I have never been into a card game before. I never thought about getting into Magic. Your brother Corey, he's got in the last couple of years he's gotten really big into Magic, the Gathering, and he's the one that actually turned me on to this. It just came out. The first core set just came out this past December 2012. We got it. I think we got the core sets back in like January, February. And me and Corey have been playing a lot. Corey hasn't been playing for a while now, but I've been keeping up. I've got all the updated decks. I've gotten everything so far. I've been kind of building my stuff and learning, and I think I got the handle down on every rule now. Casey had not been played before. So we sat down and I was teaching you kind of how to play this game. So overall, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it is a very fun game. No, I'm interested to see how a non-Star Wars fan really, or just like knowledgeable Star Wars person would like it. But I love it because maybe it's because I'm a Star Wars fan, because it's cool just playing Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Playing anything Star Wars is always fun because it's Star Wars. But
if it wasn't Star Wars, I would not be interested in it.
But as opposed to card games, because I always dread learning new games, period, but especially card games, playing Pokemon, we never really played by the real rules of Pokemon, I don't think. It was always like, oh, my card has a higher attack, so you lose, whatever. I dabbled in Yu-Gi-Oh! I never played Digimon because honestly I don't think there are any rules for Digimon. I don't know if you can, but I'm probably wrong about that. But so he always wanted me to learn this card game, and I was like, I was in college at the time, so I was like, I don't want to, but now I learned it, and it's very fun, and actually is very easy to learn. And if you get the hang of it, you say it could be done like in half an hour. Like an entire game. Can be done like in half an hour, which is, that's great. It's very efficient and short for a card game, and it seems like it's very inexpensive for a card game too. Totally. You just need the core set, really. And
core set's $25.
Yeah, unlike Magic the Gathering, where you have to constantly buy booster packs. From what I understand, there's no, you just have to keep buying and buying and buying to build up your own deck. So it's just a very nice, simple game to play, and it's very fun. It's very interactive, and there's so many cool
but there's a lot of strategy involved.
There is.
It's not definitely. Like you pull, and it's hard to explain on over a microphone here, but what cards you have in your deck in your hand. That doesn't determine anything. You might have the best cards in your hand, and you still, if you don't use them right, if you don't use like certain cards at the right times, that's how the game's decided. And it's very strategic. That's why I really loved about it, because I like chess a lot. Yeah, and I play online chess a lot with some buddies back home from high school. And chess, you have to think, and you have to know, absolutely. You have to plan ahead, and you have to think what your opponent's going to do. I kept telling Corey, this is when we were learning. I was like, this is like chess, except with Star Wars. Yeah. Come on, how awesome is that?
Yeah, I played Risk a lot, and I like Risk, so it reminds me a lot of Risk and chess too. And yeah, I was like, there were points because our game was a little slow because I was learning the rules. And
Yes.
So I would also spend all the time thinking ahead because it was late first of all, and I was like, okay, let me sit here, give me like a minute because I really need to think.
No, you do.
Like you have to think about the battle that you're engaged in at hand, but also what outcome it could be, and then you have to think of different. It's like basically Batman. You have to be Batman in this game. You have to think of backup plans and backup plans.
That's
and,
right.
Options and contingencies and all this stuff. And so it is fun in that way. Like, and for if you're out people out there, for the kids, it's enriching. It will teach you how to logically think.
It will.
So, it is a very good game. I like it. I don't know how often I will be able to get to play it, but I'm open to playing more. But, there's one thing that's one of the big hampers I've had about card games, like investing in it. Like I just said, it's inexpensive to invest in because all you need is a core set and you can get some of these force packs. But I've always been dreading to get into card games, so like I have to keep buying cards and I have to do this and I have to whatever, and I don't feel like getting sucked into all this stuff. But you really don't have to. So it's just buy a core set, you're good. If you are good at the game, all you need is a core set. Yeah. So I like it. It's a good game.
It's really good. Basically the core set comes with basically 4 affiliations. What it means is that some player is always on the dark side and the other player is always on the light side. And as the light side, you can choose between a Jedi affiliation or a Rebel affiliation, dark side, Sith, or Empire. Now they are coming out with 2 more affiliations. Their big expansion, I think, is next month, where you can become on the dark side. You can be scum and villainy. On the light side, you can be smugglers, which means the Han Solos and the Millennium Falcons and the Landos, and then the other side is the Boba Fett's and the Jabba's and all that stuff. So I can't wait for that because I'm really wanting to. You can build a pretty good deck with that. I think it'd be pretty.
And so far, it's just original trilogy stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the only thing for some reason that they threw in there on the dark side, you can actually play a Night Sister unit, which is from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean. They're still around. I feel, aren't they? Aren't they still around in the original time period?
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, but they're not shown.
There's no mention. Yeah. Everything else is strictly straight from the original trilogy. Yeah, and they even advertise it that way. When they even say a core set is, basically Episode 4. You fighting the Death Star. You're destroying the Death Star, and then right now the expansions are the Hoth stuff. Everything from the Battle of Hoth and all that stuff. So there looks like they're trying to go within the movies. I think the future stuff's going to be like Endor-ish and Ewoks and all that stuff. So
the Palpatine card, is it the Palpatine card or is it Darth Sidious?
No, it says Emperor.
Emperor
Palpatine.
Okay.
Yeah, Emperor Palpatine.
So I was thinking,
No, he said he's not. Cool. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It might say Darth Sidious. But I think it says Emperor Palpatine. Actually, I think it says Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, but there's no on the light side. It's old Obi-Wan, like it's old Ben on there, and there's no Mace Windu, not yet. No Darth Maul, not yet. No Dooku and all that stuff. So all that stuff's coming. I mean, it's like I said, it's gonna constantly. It's like magic. It's gonna constantly be adding new stuff. But again, like Casey said, you don't have to. You can just buy the core set. Which I said it was 25, but I don't think it's 25. I think it's like 40. But $40, I mean, it's endless. I mean, you can build good decks in there. It's awesome. It's so fun. It really is. I wish I want to actually play it a lot, but
I came down.
I can't find anybody else to play it.
One night, like you, Corey, Jay, and his girlfriend were over here. And all 4 of you are just playing at the dinner table.
It's great, man. 2 on, 1-on-1. And, Jay, our buddy Jay Walters, who listens to the show, him and his girl, they have a set, so they play. And Jay was texting me a couple times, like, me and Ashley just had an epic battle last night, so she's really into it. And I think she's actually pretty good at it.
Yeah. I remember because she was like beating you.
She almost beat me. She almost beat me. And she didn't really know. I mean, I was kind of helping her out a little bit because she didn't know all the rules. So they were still kind of getting through the rules, but I made sure that we followed the rules, and it was very close. It came down to kind of like last night, where
that's great.
Where I was helping her, and I was trying to figure out my own stuff and all this stuff. So That's pretty cool.
She's playing it.
She's
she want to take your attention off your own hand.
I know. But then me and her teamed up against Corey and Jay.
Yeah.
So
you can team up on that?
Well, I mean,
doubles?
we were just making decisions.
Okay, I gotcha.
Together. We were just saying, we'll play as a team. Same cards and
That'd
all that stuff.
Cool.
But we destroyed them. I mean, just wiped them out, man. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, based on the cards, man, it's a lot of decisions.
See, I wonder now if we'll see a lot of that the next celebration.
I think so,
tournaments.
because it wasn't out yet.
Mm-hmm.
It came out after Celebration, this past Celebration 6. So yes, I think there will be tournaments and card games and stuff like that. I haven't really searched online yet to see how many people are actually talking about it and all that stuff, but
I'll get into that.
I think it's getting into that. Yeah.
Next celebration we go to, if they have tournaments, I might get into it.
Oh, I'm definitely getting into it. Corey's already talked about it too. So cool. I can't get Chad into it for some reason. I don't know why. He was in the Magic, but he doesn't want to get back into a card game. But who knows? All right, so that's our show. Before we get out of here, we got trivia, of course. Me and Casey are tied right now through 9 episodes. Yeah, 6 and 3.
Okay.
We both gotten 6 right. We've both gotten 3 wrong. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to question 10 here, and it is a question in our book here, Obsessed with Star Wars, 2,500 questions about the galaxy far, far away. 1119 is the question.
I was hoping it'd be Return of the Jedi. Time period.
It is cool. Not. It looks like it's going to be Revenge of the Sith.
Okie dokie. Let's do this.
All right, 1119 from a Revenge of the Sith era. And the question is, which droid was modeled after 8-eyed vine stalkers found on Shaco?
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, here we go. Which droid was modeled after 8-eyed vine stalkers found on it's called Skako. I thought that was an H, but it's actually Skako, Skako. A crab droid. B, Octopura droid. C, vulture droid. Or D, droid decay.
Okay. Question again, please.
Yes.
This is Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Which droid was modeled after 8-eyed vine stalkers found on Skako?
Can I read the question? Because just that name you're saying,
that
would help. But
1119.
1119. 8-eyed as in has 8 eyes. Okay.
8-eyed vine stalkers.
8-eyed vine stalkers.
And you can actually press the answer here. So 8-eyed vine stalkers, which model droid was modeled after those on Skako? So read A was a crab droid.
A is crab droid. B is Octopara droid. C is vulture droid. And D is droidica.
Droidica.
I mean, I know for sure 2 of those droids. I think I've heard of a crab droid. I've never heard of an Octopara droid.
Yeah.
I'm going to go... Vine stalkers.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with vulture droid. I mean...
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is C?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with... Man. I think I'm going to go with A.
Crab droid. Okay, so I just put...
Press either A or C, whichever one, and then if it'll say... Now you got to look at it, because if it's wrong, it'll flash the right answer. So if one of us is wrong, just pick A or C.
I'm going to pick A. I mean, I'm going to press A. My answer is C.
Yeah, you're going to press A for me.
Yeah, so this will be A for crab droid.
What did it say?
Nothing.
Hit it again.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, what's it say?
The answer is B.
Dang it! I was gonna do B.
Yeah,
I was gonna do B or A.
Because I was trying to think vine stalker. So it's like, is it the shape of a vine?
Well, I think it was possibly what it's saying is people that hang out on vines, 8 eyes.
Octopara 8.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But
I thought the crab, they have 8 legs sometimes, right?
I don't know.
They have 2 things, and they have like six legs.
Maybe.
So I thought those were the climbing
If I had
things.
thought of the 8-eyed thing, I would have done Octopar. But I was thinking Vulture because they didn't show up until Revenge of the Sith. So that's the only reason I chose Vulture Droid.
Dang it! I had
Piece
that.
of duty.
I should have
done Octopar because of the 8.
Well, I know. I was going to. I was leaning towards that, but then I thought that's too obvious, maybe. And the crab thing, I don't know. The crab thing kind of threw me off.
Blast it.
So we're still tied. We got 4 wrong. Gosh, 6 right, 4 wrong. We're 6 and 4. Dang it. Through 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our show. We appreciate you checking us out.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter at Inside the Force. Go to the website, InsideTheForce.com. If you're not already there, you can stream all the shows on there. Our website is up and running. You can connect to the 21 Network from there, which we're a part of. Collection of podcasts for the fan and all of us. We've got KooCast, Inside the Force, Popular Fanatics, 21 Podcast, In the Comics, and we are announcing this week too the debut of next week. We are adding a 6th podcast to the 21 Network called the Hail Mary Podcast for all you sports fans out there. Now, most of the time, Star Wars fans may not be sports fans.
No, we don't know anything about sports.
I am. I'm a jock as well as a geek. So I'm very much appreciated, and for this is and I want to get the name right. This is actually the first podcast that doesn't involve any of us that's part of the network already. Whoa. This is a brand new podcast from Jay Walters and his buddy, and forgive me, I forgot. His name's Brad. I'm going to look up his last name real fast. I want to get that right. But anyway, these guys are starting basically what they're doing is a beer and sports podcast. They're going to talk about the latest sports news. They're going to talk about just what's happening in the world of sports, as well as centered around some beer drinking, everything, everything, that involves that right there. So that's why it's called Ale Mary.
I get it now.
You get it now?
Like Ale 8, but,
No.
All right.
Brad McGovern. That's who is the other co-host. So it's Jay Walters, Brad McGovern. They are going to be doing the Ale Mary podcast, and it's going to be coming to you Mondays with KooCast. So you're going to get KooCast and Ale Mary on the same day.
So it's going to premiere
June
Monday
3rd.
Yeah,
Monday, June 3rd will be the first, is what I'm told. Now, that may change right now, but no, right now that is coming out this week. So you're getting 6 podcasts from the 21 Network.
Can you get that on the website yet, or are you doing it on iTunes?
There will be a website.
Okay.
It'll be on iTunes, just like all of our sites, alemarypodcast.com. You'll be able to stream the show right there, part of the 21 Network. So that's coming to you. More details will come. Actually, I think sometime this week, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, the day this comes out, sometime later in the week, you will be able to get a preview episode, just kind of a explanation on iTunes. We're going to put up a show, kind of what we did with us.
Right.
We kind of just a little 4 or 5 minutes talk about what's going to be in the show, who the hosts are, and whatnot. So that'll be up later in this week, and then, like I said, Monday you'll get the first show. On top of that, real quick, what's happening with the 21 Network is you may not be a fan of them or not, but this June, across a couple of the podcasts of the 21 Network, it is Superman month. Yeah. We are celebrating the release of Man of Steel coming June 14th, as well as Superman Celebration, which is the annual convention in Metropolis, Illinois, celebrating the Man of Steel, which is happening June 7th, 8th, and 9th. So we are going to be there for that. We're going to check out, obviously, the Man of Steel the week after. We got the early showing.
Oh, yeah.
7 o'clock on Thursday. We're doing across KooCast, the 21 podcast, and In the Comics, our comics podcast on the network. It's all about Superman. We're going to be doing a ton of Superman stuff. So if you're a big fan of Superman or a big fan of looking forward to the Man of Steel, we're going to be talking about a lot of Superman stuff in those podcasts. Not this one, because we're Star Wars here. So next week, you'll get episode 11, and we'll tweet later on this week who we're going to profile and kind of preview who we're going to profile. So anyway, that's a lot of plug-in, but thanks for joining us again. InsideTheForce.com, at Inside the Force on Twitter. Casey Cooley is at Kryptonian1138. Superman related. I am at D Cottingham21. Really appreciate you guys checking us out and tweeting us. We're gonna do a giveaway too eventually. We're gonna get a little contest again going up here. So until next week, for Casey Cooley,
this party's over.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm David Cottingham. Thanks for listening to Inside the Force. May the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network, a collection of weekly podcasts. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.